Esports, trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that Rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi getting 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
And welcome back, everybody, to CGL 1 with another cast coming at you. We have the NAPC Open Bracket coming at you live. I am Anevo, joined by the wonderful and talented Shadow Fang to help you guys, to help cover this absolute banger match we have between Nightmare Rotation and Tanuki.
It's always a fun time when we get to see Nightmare Rotation play. They, it's very rare that I can come into a match and definitively say I do not think we're going to see Malga from a team. I do not think we're going to see Malga from Nightmare Rotation. I say that and then they're just going to do it probably. Like that's just how it ends up working, my words seem to mean little to nothing in that regard, but I guess we'll see. I can hope, I can hope.
Absolutely, but we have seen Tanuki multiple times previously in the stream here for the NA Open, a very formidable team. I mean, they had gone 3-0 in their round 1. Now, of course, this is round 2, so just before that winner's final spot. And, of course, don't never forget, this is a double elimination bracket, so regardless of who does go down, they're not out quite yet. In fact, once either team does go down, they'll be waiting very patiently in losers round 2, second half against Arise, right? So lots of hope for your favorite guys here, favorite teams as well. And of course, the winner of Winners Round 2 between Tanuki and Nightmare Rotation will be fighting the Bobcats, who have been waiting very, very patiently after a wonderful 3-0 win for themselves. Now waiting Winners Finals to hopefully get a spot at that grand final. So lots of stakes here for both teams tonight, and I'm really hoping for the best as we start to look towards these lineups of who exactly are going to be seeing the lobbies today, duking it out. We have Tanuki first up on deck, Lich and Temp once again taking that reign with on the DPS side of things. Arizona coming back on that tank, and Social and Solo Zen, who are in that backline together. So very, very formidable team. I'm very excited to see how they're going to be dealing into Nightmare Rotation.
I mean, absolutely. They're going to have to be a strong and just incredibly coordinated team to deal with Nightmare Rotation and just their unorthodox way of playing that's worked so well for them. I mean, Nightmare Rotation did win the mid-season tournament, always worth mentioning. I think they did at least. Oh, my memory's not serving me very well right now. But anywho, Nightmare Rotation, very strong team. So let's go ahead and see their lineup as well. We've got Harmony and Plato on that DPS line. Matt Merck on the tank with Bandit and Chosen on that support line. Harmony, pretty much, these are pretty much the heroes for the DPS that they like to play more than anything. That Symmetra and that Bastion. So do not be surprised if we see something like that. Matt Merck is a lot more of a flex tank type of player. They can play pretty much everything. As a matter of fact, I casted one of their games where they challenged themselves to play every single tank on the roster, and I believe they did in a 3-0 win. So don't put it past Nightmare Rotation and just try and do some foolish things just because they do it to challenge themselves.
I love that. I love my tank plays mystery heroes and still wins. I love that for everyone. Or even you want to call it even a Nuzlocke. You know, you die if you die once, you gotta swap off. That'd be really great of a challenge for us to see from the rotation. If they want to take one up, right? But regardless, I'm excited. These were the lineups. It's a head-to-head scenario between Nightmare Rotation and Tanuki. Winner goes to that winner's final spot. So again, lots on the line here between either team. But Nightmare Rotation, very well known with the Nightmare Orc itself. Tanuki, extremely formidable as a team in of themselves. So again, extremely hypes that we do have for you guys tonight, especially as we already have our starting lineup. With these teams, they already have their control ready. It's gonna be Lijiang Tower starting things off strongly.
No surprises here, quite honestly. You know, I'm surprised when teams don't just pick Lijiang Tower and run with it, you know, but especially with the Symmetra being such a prevalent pick for Nightmare Rotation, makes total sense. You'd want to play Lijiang Tower, you know, go ahead, get that map that you know Sim is going to have an advantage at least on one of the points, just off rip, you know, and if you're going to run the Sim and the Bastion together, you know, I think this is going to be the best map to potentially do it on.
Yeah, Nightmare Rotation stays with the Rhine and the Sim. When she's set up on Lijiang Tower, on Night Market, on Control Center, on Downtown, I'm sorry, on Garden, excuse me, these are all plays where she really just perseveres as a DPS. And when you have the teleportation given to that Reinhardt all of a sudden becomes the scariest tank in the game right after Malga, right? So regardless, looks like so far as we start getting things settled into these lobbies, Matt Merck on the Sig so far with Plato on the Widow. Harmony is definitely gonna be sticking to that Symmetra, and unfortunately, Shadowfang, I cannot say we're not gonna be seeing Malga as Arson, maybe committing some arson with that character.
You know what? This comp actually makes a lot of sense though from Nightmare Rotation. If you were gonna stick with your two main DPS like you are right here, this is probably the best way you can try and counter the Malga. Just deny the damage with the Sigma, anti from Chosen. That's a good combination of plays you have there to try and deal with all this healing. So I like it.
Oh, look at the immediate punish as well. The charge in coming in from Arson and immediately gets pelted down by the turret from Plato. Unfortunately, does get kind of burned away by Temp on this Reaper, who does give Bastion a little bit of run for his money. But they already gotten gotten the first pick here on Social, and Matt Merck just able to punish Temp without that cooldown of the Wraith or the Shadow Step available to him. So very well done rotation from Nightmare Rotation to take this objective first, and Tanuki has to reconvene with Arson still spawning in.
I mean, it all started with Harmony getting the pick onto Social there so early. You cannot lose your Brig because it just leaves your Juno so exposed and they have to play a lot safer. And you can see Temp, Arson not really getting much ult charge, not able to get too much done on their heroes here. And now they're already engaging into this next fight. Plato about to have their ultimate already.
And Plato putting a lot of pressure on Temp as well, and look how low that the health boost had been, and great TP from Harmony to make sure Plato gets that easy high ground and space control and playing that Mega Pack, so much so that Plato finds the kill on Social from so far away, no one able to really punish this Bastion play, not once, but twice. Plato gonna be the flanker of the day, and thankfully Temp able to find the way away from a turreting Bastion, forces you know, Tanuki to reconvene once again with this now artillery cannon ready for Plato use.
I mean, we could see the classic combo from about a year ago, the Gravitic Flux with the artillery strike from the Bastion. That is coming up soon here. A lot of ults online, and here comes the Orbital Ray from Tanuki.
Oh, Solo Zen popping that Orbital Ray right in the smack middle of the control center here. And here comes that artillery cannon you're talking about earlier. It gets ripped through that Orbital Ray. And that's a really great way that Nightmare Rotation has done to kind of circumvent this powerful ultimate that Solo Zen did have in the back pocket. Arson opting to go for the Winston. Looks like we're being some slight swaps here from the back line, especially as we see Social go over to the Ana.
It looks like we're seeing a total swap onto a dive composition for Tanuki, but that's going to be tough to deal. That's going to be tough to work with as well, because now you're seeing Chosen swapping off the Ana, going for the Brig, and Harmony just getting another pick onto Temp. This Sim just keeps opening these fights up.
The Sim absolutely does, and it's, I mean, the Terraform right in front of Winston's face. That's not Winston's, you know, favorite matchup to really deal with. Social forcing the reset, probably was just too slow to, you know, back to the rest of the team. 97% and counting. Can anyone really touch? And I don't think they can unless they get maybe a TP out, but no. Harmony so good at kind of shutting down enemies engages with those sim turrets with the full force of night rotation right behind them.
It's just, I think the thing that Tanuki's struggling with right now is they're getting hit by a lot of this. It sounds ridiculous to say, but the poke damage from this Symmetra from Harmony, those orbs can do a lot of damage and they move really fast. And it's just like a lot of time, I saw it happen quite a few times where somebody would get caught with a sim orb and then immediately get stuck by Bastion Grenade and then they're just dead. That's just it. Like, that's all you need. You need that, and then you get the Sigma spam damage coming into that same spot as well. It's just a boatload of damage coming out, and it's going to force Tanuki to pretty much mirror this composition, just kind of play back, try and poke themselves, and that's exactly what Nightmare Rotation wants, because they play these heroes 24/7. You don't, so it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to like do the same thing with it.
Gonna be honest, I'm kind of a big fan of the Pharah and the Sigma from Arsene here, from Tanuki in general, but unfortunately Arsene kind of overextended a little bit there, couldn't be sighted out by the backline of Social and Solo Zen, so gets, shut down relatively quickly, and thankfully, Chosen gained those headshots, I'm sorry, those hits, no headshots for Ana, unfortunately, please. Blizzard, give Ana headshots. Lich no longer in the fight, really quick, nicely timed team fight from the rotation.
And I mean, just a great push from Nightmare Rotation. They see the one pick, and they know they can just immediately go on that. Arsene swapping over to this Malga again. They need to watch out for this anti. As soon as the anti is out, that is just go for Nightmare Rotation. But look at how low Arsene already is before they even engage in the fight.
And on the other side of things, Matt Mercs always has their HP pretty much relatively high at all times in that shoot as well. So good at drifting it out to make sure it doesn't get broken before the engagement starts from Arsene. But thankfully, Arsene healed right back up, and right as we said that Arsene was going down, is Matt Merc instead. The health pool not going to be able to suffice, and thankfully, you see Arsene so smart, kind of pushing Plato away from that pack there, and was able to pack himself before the before being melted by Plato on the Bastion. So very well done again from Tanuki. Now they have some ultimates to work with. Orbital online almost.
Oh, they've got their Orbital. Nightmare Rotation getting close on there. They have their Nano Boost here as well. And then this Reaper of Temp just putting in this damage right now. But don't look now. But this Echo is just laying the pressure down as well.
Oh, that's a big pick there. Good pressure from Lich on the high ground with the Echo you were talking about earlier. And Temp following up on their DPS. Lich getting up amazing stickies kill on a Harmony. That's absolutely amazing. You shut down the utilization of a wall. I mean, there is an orbital raid, but it's going to be going away relatively soon. And that allows Lich to go full force into the line, the back line of Nightmare Rotation alongside Temp. The Flux used by Matt Merc there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really sustain. And oh wait, maybe it was really good float away, tries to go back to the sideline of the supports, and we are just pushing right in. We have ultimates to use. You might as well go right in with that aggression from Tanuki.
I do actually like the aggression here from Tanuki, trying to force some of those major cooldowns out. The cage comes out early here, and oh, nice kill.
Really good kill on Bandit, who was, again, unfortunately called out by the cage fight from Arsene. And the point does get flipped right underneath their noses by both Matt Merc and Harmony, who has popped up these walls for that extra sustain and power and the protection of these turrets as well. Are burning down Arsene as we speak. The purple also from the anti-nade, even better. But Temp shuts it right down. Here comes the duplicate, forces the kinetic grasp from the duplicated Lich here, and Echo forced out of that dupe immediately after the fact. Now it really is just a matter of, can we burn down Matt Merc in this next engagement before being forced to use the Death Blossom, and thankfully Temp saves it for another day.
And that might be enough to hold this map if Tanuki decides to just kind of spawn hold like they were just a moment ago. But they're going to have to deal with this Lucio, and Temp has caught them out. Don't get booped off the map though, Temp. You got to be careful. That's actually a really good Death Blossom.
That's a hilarious Death Blossom. That might be the Death Blossom of the match, I must say. Very well done. And also really good just kind of waking up for Tanuki. Lost on Control Center. Found their answer by kind of just going the more meta Mago comp again, but playing it a little bit better, playing it a little bit smarter, playing a little bit more sleek. And Nightmare Rotation kind of getting called out. They found Matt Merc's grasps. They punished Plato when they weren't in turret form. They went for Bandit with those solo cages. Tanuki is alive and well in this series.
Yes, Tanuki doing a much better job of just not getting caught out, particularly by Harmony, with the way they were on map number 1. Like I said, a lot of that spam damage coming out from that Symmetra was doing a lot. I didn't see the turrets out too often doing damage from Harmony. Like there wasn't nearly as much value being gotten by that Symmetra on map number 2, and I imagine that has to be just a good adjustment. And there it is again, the Harmony gets moved off.
Oh! Speaking of Boop, Temp not able to really get the Shadow Step in time, goes for the Wraith instead, as they have been booped off of this map. And as you know, once a Symmetra is set up on this objective, it gets so much harder for the attacking team to regain that advantage state. Lich being down first is not what they wanted here. Now, did just open. Arsene is going straight in. The first fight going into the next fight. No seam in between. But Arsene is getting putted from all angles. But thankfully, Nightmare Rotation finds the objective first in their control.
I mean, just great hold from the side of Nightmare Rotation so far. You're going to want to just see that damage keep getting laid down by Play-Doh. They're doing a great job of just constantly being in this turret form, being a threat, and that's what you have to do to this Malga, just not let them push. Bandit getting that pick on the Lich, though, is huge.
I know, and Arsene still not going down. Cardiac Overdrive kind of allowing that Malga to stay alive for an absurd amount of time. Artillery fire still ready for Play-Doh so early on, right? So that's great as a re-engaging tool for Nightmare Rotation. But, I mean, once you've lost your Sigma, do you really want to do that? Great purple on our tank there, but even better is a follow-up from both Lich and Temp to make sure Arsene does not go down to that anti-nade.
I mean, I really think that fight all starts with Harmony going down so early there on that Symmetra. They're just, Tanuki is paying Harmony a lot more mind now, and it's definitely showing in these 2 rounds. Just, I mean, you just look at the ult charge right there. There's a massive difference between them and everybody else, basically. Lich getting Play-Doh out with that boop, too. They are doing a lot on this bar right now.
And they're going to keep pushing this advantage state. The Nano has been expended onto Arsene, who goes straight in with the aggression that, given to him. And now, able to kind of back out. And I do think that they're able to get a boop off of Harmony from just the sheer knockback of the charge.
I mean, I can't say I've ever seen that before, so that's a cool first interaction for me to ever see. And Play-Doh going for this artillery strike, not going to catch anything. Now it's really going to be on Matt Merck to try and get a big-time flux here, but in comes the cage.
Ooh, in comes the cage, and in comes the over the ray from Nightmare Rotation. We do trade off our Annas, but even worse is we trade off our Arsene for an Anna. The Death Blossom coming through doesn't really find too much value from Temp, and there's that turret we were talking about earlier. Didn't get much value in the second map, but third map is taking down Lich and giving Nightmare Rotation a lease on life here.
And now with Nightmare Rotation having the point control, this is a lot better position for them to be in. But Arsene actually did not end up using the cage right there like I thought they were going to. So now you've got a cage and a barrage available for Tanuki. And I think you can really take this fight if you position this cage exactly right, because you're going to have just a good shield for your Bara.
They know it's coming. They saw Lich getting set up, and the Symmetra wall was just enough to barricade that barrage and make Lich self-destruct, making this ultimate exchange completely useless for Tanuki. They have nothing. 60% to a Nano. I mean, we're forcing Arsene off the Malga, going over to the Zarya to kind of pelt through this kinetic grass and the Symmetra a little bit here.
That is a crazy good position for that Sim barrier, by the way. I like this Flux, too. Just go early. Maybe you could potentially get Arsene out here. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to, though.
Again, Arsene nearly not having enough bubbles to cleanse themselves of this anti-nade coming in from Chosen here. Artillery cannon comes through from Play-Doh, only just puts a lot of pressure on this bridge area that Tanuki is insistent on walking in. This is a full charge Zarya coming right at you, but no bubbles means you're an anti-nade. You can't get cleansed by anybody else, and Play-Doh, yes, goes down, but not for getting 2. Solazan able to glide up these walls, maybe find a little bit of value by getting a pick here, but that's not going to be enough. A big sleep comes in, and there's no sense of a recontest from Tanuki. Nightmare Rotation in the thick of it gets the win 2-1 on control point.
And you can see really how important Harmony is to this team, particularly on that last map. The complete 180 we saw from that team once Harmony was able to get set up on that point and just kind of exist there as Symmetra, just the insane difference in value that the team was getting was really awesome to see. I mean, yeah, these alt fires, this is what I was talking about from the sim for most of this entire first map. Those alt fires were doing so much to allow the poke comp to really work even better than you would expect it to, because you wouldn't expect Sim to be a poke hero per se, but when you're constantly landing those alt fires like that, that is a poke hero.
I have seen people say if you're not spamming the Symmetra alt fire, you're throwing on Symmetra, and I have become a believer in one exact map. I mean, the precision, the accuracy, that has to be talked about because those not only they take forever to charge up to their full potential, but to land them as well on kind of both close and far targets, that's extremely impressive from Harmony. So extremely well done from them rotation on Lijiang Tower. On I mean, honestly, all three. Night Market was a little bit rough. You know, Tanuki found their footing in that moment, but I think literally the split second, where it changed tides, what I'm trying to say, where it changed tides in favor of Night rotation on that third objective was that sim wall that blocked off the barrage and just rendered the barrage cage completely useless. Because you know Tanuki was banking on that being their win condition to recap the map and maybe play for backline ultimates after the fact.
No, that was absolutely crucial. And I mean, so for you to place that wall so perfectly, you had to already know where the Pharah was coming from before you even put it down. So that's some really good map awareness from Harmony to place that perfectly, because it not only blocked it, it made Lich kill themselves. So you know it had to be directly on top of where that Pharah was at.
Yeah, you saw the pinging. You know, they knew where Far was heading up on the low slopes of the tower. So again, extremely good awareness from them rotation. Tanuki, however, not completely down for the count yet. This is of course first to 3, so lots of time to adapt. And clearly, like I mentioned, they are a force to be reckoned with. They were on the cusp of being the winner, being the victor of Lijiang Tower. So I am not counting them down whatsoever. And in fact, I expect this to go almost a full map series. I mean, I would love to see a 3-2 scenario for either side here. Both teams are absolutely grand finals worthy, at least in my opinion. So wherever happens, I'll be happy. I'll be extremely happy with. So as we wait up for the second map, they have so many choices, Shadow. They have map pick and map genre pick.
Part of me thinks they're going to go Clash Point, like one of the two, you know, whichever. I can't say exactly which Clash Point out of the 4 choices that we have, but I feel like they're going to want to try and force a condensed area fight, kind of like Lijiang Tower, but not Lijiang Tower. Yeah, just give us a map that is not Lijiang Tower, and I feel like we'll be able to maneuver around better and try and force these fights in more advantageous locations for our comp as opposed to your comp, if you're being Tanuki.
I mean, we've kind of seen that trend throughout the past week and a half or so of the playoffs between all of the divisions we have for season 14. We've been seeing a lot of the losers pick be towards the push maps of the world, the clash points of the world, and they're kind of leaving escort and hybrid for last. I think just because of how, and specifically they're leaving escort for last. They want hybrid because you at least have the chance of a full hold from just kind of gatekeeping that first objective, right? So, you know, lots of options here as we do have the map pool pulled up real fast, and you know, they have so many options. If they want to go for more of a brawl, Tanuki, in fact, if they want to go for more of a brawl, they have the option of going to Kings Row, which we saw yesterday in the NA console division. Wow. Producer just let me know in my little ear. They're going to Kings Row. So looks like we are going to be going to a hybrid, going to Kings Row. That is where Brawl that's where Brawl was born. Brawl walked out the womb knowing how to brawl on Kings Row.
It definitely makes sense. You know, it's the same concept. Tanuki wants to force this Mauga composition from what we've seen so far. So why not go to a map that's more brawl centric? But I think Kings Row in particular is a map where you can see this Bastion Symmetra get very, very creative on you. Like, there's a lot of angles that you can take on Kings Row that are still very large sight lines, and it's hard for you to cover enough distance to get to them. So I think this is still going to be a rather tough map to deal with Nightmare Rotation's composition on.
I have to agree, and you know, Tanuki opting to be on the defense side of things, but Nightmare Rotation can be attacking first here, so Arsene has a work cut out for them. They want ideally in a perfect scenario world, they want no ticks on the board, they want a full hold here, and with the BAP Juno, something we haven't really seen since the pro play of Stockholm, right? Where Landon was on this Baptiste with the Juno despite the sea of Brigidas out there, right? And playing wonderfully that BAP character with Juno. So Social and Solo Zen going with a more unconventional backline, but still repping with that orbital ray. Now we're opting for the same with the Juno and the Ana here, but we're keeping the Doomfist, Shadow. I lied. We're going to Sigma.
No, so we are going to go with the Sigma. Makes sense, it's just to deny that all that spam damage that comes out from this Mauger comp. And, I imagine, like, all that's going to happen here in Nightmare rotation, they're just going to constantly rotate with these sim turrets, so as the cooldown comes back, they'll go somewhere else. Yeah, there you go.
Oh wow, they're just going completely to flip the map here, forcing Lich to fly away extremely fast to force the Immortality field out from Social as well. And they've gone for a full map flip here. If you didn't know any better, Tanuki would be the one looking like they're attacking and Night Rotation defending. But a big anti on Arson renders him completely useless here in this engagement. The Arcadic Overdrive is able to give him the overhealth needed to sustain through these fights, and Social called out with this jump. Solo Zen does find the pick on Play-Doh, but it's just temp all by themselves. The Wraith form does, I think, find that mini pack for a little bit extra sustain, but that's a tick and a half gone already with a 3-minute timing. If they full cap here, they're gonna have 5 minutes.
Nightmare Rotation is gonna need another pick before they can most certainly do that, but it could happen here if this is a good accretion.
Oh my gosh, and again, somehow, someway, Plato always having these artillery cannons ready at the same time, and the way they're placed, the way they use it is very, very artistically done. It's so good. And Plato again popping off with the Bastion, playing in a safe spot, punishing Arson, punishing Temp, punishing Lich, and getting the stagger kill on Social and Zuluzen. Even better for Nightmare Rotation.
No, absolutely. This will pretty much guarantee you might be able to get past this first bookstore corner here with those particular picks. And if you can't, I mean, you've got Nano Boost available for you, and Matt Merck is getting very close on this Gravitic Flux. I mean, you can see how far up they're being pushed right now, they're being Tanuki. And they're getting close to their copy, but that's really the main thing that Tanuki has available to them.
It's not gonna be much. I mean, Solozen expanding that orbital rate early on, and not being able to match Bandit's own, and even the Nano from Chosen. I mean, like you said, we have 4 ultimates ready for number rotation at any point. Arson taking the rotation of all time, but gets punished, gets rocked for their efforts. Tries to find the Mega Pack in the little room here. Forces Social to come in, teleport in with Suzu, and gets completely, shut down and punished by Plato with these Bastion grenades. But even better, I mean, Temp's aggression here, especially as we're going in with the Wraith form. We had Death Blossom ready, and the self-heal that Reaper gets is so good in these engages. And Arson is basically not being checked here, falling over to the back line, finding Chosen, and able to get right out with almost scot-free, but not for too long. Temp trying to find that Mega Pack, still gets to the end of the day, but doesn't have another Wraith form to survive off of.
Worth noting, Matt Merck does swap on to the Diva here. That's another hero that they tend to like to play a lot. Makes perfect sense, honestly. And now, if you're the side of Nightmare Rotation, you kind of need to stop Tanuki from coming in before they use this Cage Blossom. You might be able to deny it, though, with this Sin Barrier, as we saw happen last time.
You might be able to, but here's the continued rush coming from Social. Here's the cage fight as well. It's going to be trapping everyone in this small enclosed space that Arson wants him to be in, but with the high ground pretty much uncontested, and with a beautiful Bastion grenade there to shut down the dive from Lich as they're trying to fly up. The defense matrix going to be shutting down that Death Blossom. The sleep only, perseveres. That Blossom is not going to be getting too much value. And that rotation caps with 4 minutes into objective B.
And I mean, interesting swap here coming out. We're seeing Lich go for this May pick, Temp swapping onto the Widowmaker. I mean, that makes sense. If you can get headshots on Widowmaker, you can run the lobby. It doesn't really matter much beyond that. But Social also going on to the Zenyatta, which is an interesting choice. Solo Zen about to have this orbital ray online here.
Surely you make it. No! Observers, you're nasty for catching that. Oh my goodness. I can't believe we caught that. Arson had believe a little bit too much, but unfortunately just couldn't get back to the high ground. And this objective, this payload is cruising along the third objective here, halfway through even. Temp not being able to get a pick here, and Plato waiting patiently in his little area to utilize this artillery cannon again. Nano expended on said Plato, and with the anti-nade all over Arsene, they can't play the game. Order Ray has now been expended from Solo Zen here, and Tanuki has nothing. It's just up to Nano Rotation to really clean up what they started.
I mean, pretty dominant map there from Nightmare Rotation. You see Matt Merck starting to take that all tanks challenge, comes back out on the Zarya there at the end. The Zarya bubble on a Bastion is a very disappointing thing to see if you're the other team, because you're just like, oh no. I stepped out to get this Bastion, now they've got a Zarya bubble. I'm pretty much guaranteed dead, because Bastion does so much damage, especially with the way Plato, gotta shout out those grenades. Those grenades, there's been some geometry working on a few of those grenades to just ricochet off the wall exactly right and just land right on target. They've been doing such a good job with that. And I mean, not to mention the backline. The backline for Nightmare Rotation has been doing great too. Bandit and Chosen using their ultimates at the right time. And, you know, the nanos have all been really good. The orbital rays have been fight winning as well. You know, they're just great plays overall. Tanuki is just really struggling to get that opening pick. They were getting them on Lijiang Tower, mostly onto Harmony for map number 2, and once that stopped happening, there's not really an opening for Tanuki at the moment.
No, there isn't. And you know, Tanuki in general, they're opting to go for the Malga comp again. Temp playing with the Hanzo here on this high ground, maybe to get a first pick on somebody, ideally the Ana or the Symmetra, both kind of slow moving targets, not too much movement once they're down their cooldowns, like the teleport for example. But Arsene going straight in to the fray, wrapping around this statue right side here, and waiting for the, Lich to get a really good stickies off, find someone really low. But look at the rotation. They've been opting to go up to, ooh, no, I lied. They're going straight to the objective, playing that corner area, forcing the rotation to come onto them, or else they're gonna lose these the first couple of ticks very early on. Really good stickies, but even better peel from Bandit. Make sure Plato does not go down first and foremost.
I mean, look at this right here. Lich just getting caught out there by Plato. Great shots landing from the Bastion. Bastion about to have this turret form in 1 second. I have to imagine this is going to be sick.
Yeah, because now Plato has become the new tank. Now that they're down Matt Merck here, and the supports understand that assignment, and they're running with it beautifully. We've lost Harmony, but it's A-okay. You still have Plato at the very least, and not even a single tick on the board yet. So a recontest is absolutely going to happen here for Nightmare Rotation as Matt Merck flows daintily back to the fight.
I mean, Plato holding it down already on that artillery strike with his Bastion. Matt Merck just narrowly staying alive there. And here comes the ult out from Plato.
Another artillery cannon coming through, and Arsene charging right in to find this Bastion and shut them down, and it happens very nicely. The anti-nade also comes through onto Arsene as well, and no follow-up, and the orbital ray even better just to secure the win here. Nightmare Rotation down a couple of ultimates, while the Tanuki have a couple coming up in the back pocket.
That was a really great push there from Arsene and Temp, just kind of disregarding the rest of Nightmare Rotation, being like, okay, we are dealing with this Bastion. Something on this other team is going down, and we're deciding right now it's going to be Bastion. And now you already see Arsene setting up almost in the next spawn, just going to be looking for a pin out here, and I imagine they're going to combo with Temp to try and get a pick here.
I just heard Arsene kind of adjusting a little bit with the footsteps, and they know, hey, their tank is super separated. We can either go on the tank or go on the rest of the team here, and I think the rotation is opting to go onto the top of the rest of the team here as Arsene is forced to retreat back. Payload just narrowly getting around the first bend of King's Row. The turret form is out for Plato, but here's a rally even better. The orbital ray from Bandit and both the Nano, so both extended in this engagement. But will it be enough, especially when Temp layers on the Death Blossom? And if you look at the lookout, no one has any ults. Every single ult was expended to secure that team fight from both sides.
That is a rare exchange, I will say that. And for Tanuki to come out on top of it, that's absolutely huge. Because now you should be able to get this point capped, and you'll have an absurd dime bank coming into third here.
Ooh, Temp trying to find Plato, and Plato barely is living by the skin of his teeth. but Bandit can't say the same, unfortunately. Neither can Chosen. Where did Arson come from? I was watching Temp decimate the backline, and with Arson helping them out, it becomes so much easier. Now Arson kind of camping his little corridor, waiting for the perfect opportunity to allow Solozen to get some ult charge for this orbital. Oh, Harmony couldn't even come out the spawn room safely.
And again, Temp just doing a great job of just applying this constant pressure in combination with their Echo here, but Lich going down could be tough.
It is going to be tough, and you know, Temp is coming up on that Death Blossom very early on, and with Solozen also really close to the orbital, it could be winnable. But they got chill for a second here. Solozen does have orbital ray, and they're believing in themselves, Shadow, as they have now expanded the orbital ray. Artillery cannon is coming through. Here comes the Death Blossom, and it's absolutely massive. If they cap here, they're gonna have an extra entire minute against Nightmare Rotation's own, and they did it. Oh my god, they actually did it. They have a whole minute for this round 3.
That's a crazy time cap for Tanuki. Yeah, I mean, they were just taking advantage of the ult fights. They're playing more aggressively, and they're making Nightmare Rotation look kind of slow. You know, like, honestly, and that's kind of what you have to do. You know, I've been saying it in quite a few of the matches we've been casting. That pin and the slam with the Mauga seems to be like the key differentiator between like the teams really good at the Mauga comp and the teams that are just kind of okay at the Mauga comp. Who can engage correctly with this slam, with their Reaper and with their Echo stickies, and Tanuki is doing that right now, but they're gonna have to do it again if they want to take this map.
They do. They have to keep up this aggression on their, now again, their defense side of things. So the first defense went a little bit weary for Tanuki, because Nightmare Rotation got a full like 4.5, 5 minute time bank after they pushed in and got those 3 ticks off. You have 2 minutes to build up at least the orbital, at least. Definitely the Bastion ultimate will be online. We've been New Plato doesn't play about getting that ult charge.
No, Plato will most certainly get a Bastion ultimate in this amount of time. And Nightmare Rotation is so good at just moving around the map with these sim TPs. So I expect them to probably flip the map again the same way they did the first time they went for this attack. But Tanuki just needs to respond better to it this time than they did last.
And Tanuki has to commit to a full map flip here, and instead of going for that high ground map flip we talked about earlier, meanwhile I lied. Actually, we did go for the high ground. Unfortunately, I think Fiddle kind of jumped off a little bit too early, jumped the gun a tiny bit here, kind of left Chosen for dead against the threat of Arson on this Mauga. Temp going in shots to make up to the high ground, going and destroying this teleportation from Harmony, but it's a back and forth. But we've lost our tank. And we're about to lose our second tank, arguably being Plato, and that's absolutely humongous for Tanuki on the defense side of things, and it's forcing Nightmare Rotation into a really, really late disengagement.
And Tanuki, again, just doing a great job of locating the isolated target and going on them. Chosen happened to be that person that time, but Plato taking down Solos, and that could be huge because you need your Geno with this comp.
And you know what? Arson decides to go right in there, maybe do some work with Temp and Lich, who are absolutely doing work. Really good awareness from Temp to find that Mega Pack in time, and maybe put a little bit more of an effort in halting Nightmare Rotation's efforts here. But one take is already on the board here. 40 seconds left on the clock. Like we said, Plato is going to be having this artillery cannon ready for this next fight. Especially when we get a pick on Temp. That's so late!
Oh, that is a tough time to go down, and that's going to result in this first point being taken from Nightmare Rotation, and they're not going to stop there. They're going to keep pushing this, try and get these stagger picks out if they can here.
And they have to clear as much space as they can for this payload to cruise along to Objective B as easily as possible, right? So Plato having this artillery cannon, Nightmare coming up on the flux, Chosen about to have the nano. I mean, Nightmare Rotation looking extremely strong here, but Temp, Lich, and Solozen are about to have their ultimates, or at least have their ultimates ready now. Here comes the artillery cannon coming first, clearing the stairway of the streets of King's Row. Temp going for the sneakiest flank of all time, losing 2. Do they pull the Death Blossom, knowing the wall is right there? Do we go for it at all, Shadow Fang? They might wait a little bit, knowing the flux has been expended too.
No, you're definitely going to just want to hold your ults. Honestly, at this point, probably just save it for the cage. Arson's getting really close to it. You can just bank 4 ultimates here and probably win this before second point gets capped. Just don't get over aggressive or do something that might lose you the fight.
Oh, if that really good shoot from Matt Merck, I mean, if that shoot wasn't there, yeah, if that shoot wasn't there, I think Temp absolutely would have shut down at least Bandit, which would have been huge because that orbital ray is going to be the make or break of this next engagement. And most of the time, it's going to make things work for number rotation. And there it is, orbital ray into the cage. There's no that button to really help out with it. We go for the duplicate onto the Sigma. Do we have the flux? We do, off of just one rock throw, but gets shut down. Duplicate has been deleted from the game here. Temp now finding so much value by taking care of Play-Doh. Social gets the diff onto Bandit as well from the Brigida. But I mean, Matt Merck is still on the objective. What are you going to do against Sigma when they still have at least a Brig? Oh, this should be really good. Arsene coming back on the Doomfish just to risk some recontesting, but it's just Matt Merck by themselves, and still Harmony able to come back in the nick of time.
No, Harmony doing a great job on the Symmetra in that fight. Matt Merck too, you got to shout out those accretions being so good, the spam damage coming in. But I just go back to Temp using that Death Blossom right there. There should have been a Blossom into that cage right there, and I think that would kill them even through the Orbital Ray. But now you're in a position where Nightmare Rotation has a really good chance of capping this map. They just need to win this fight.
Oh, here's the classic Flux into the artillery cannon, and it works beautifully. Even better than we probably expected. Nightmare Rotation still looking as clean as ever, as they once again are going to cruise through King's Row effortlessly.
They're going to have to take one more fight here, most likely. No ults really available. Tanuki getting close on that orbital and the rally, but Harmony going to have this sim barrier, and that should be enough protection before those ults come online for Tanuki.
Oh my god, okay, I saw Bennett got the play for 2 seconds. I thought we were going to see 9 that right the last second. But someone, thank you. Oh my goodness, Pillow on this high ground being pretty much uncontested over the orbital ray coming in from Solo Zen. We do see a little bit of back and forth here. Lich doing their darndest to recontest, but without a wall, without a cryo either. It's not going to be too long of a contest. And Temp fading right into the fray, gets Bastion grenaded for their efforts. Arsene coming back on the Doomfist here, just to contest a little bit. Love the TP from Social, but it's not going to be enough with the Kiriko. And now Play-Doh running this lobby like a Widowmaker should be, on a Bastion of all things.
No, Play-Doh sitting on that high ground there at the end. It's just you don't have the ability to pay attention to that Bastion where you're at the moment. You just don't have the ability to, because you're getting pushed so hard from your front line, from this Sig and this Symmetra and like the anti-nades that are coming in. You just don't have the ability to look up at this Bastion and also deal with what's happening down low at the same time. So that's one of those moments where you could just tell that they play these heroes a lot. So they're just trying to make you look in two directions at once. Really good off angling there from Play-Doh, and just absolute dominance from Nightmare Rotation. I'm gonna go back though to, I really think Temp should not have tried for that Death Blossom there. That was a very risky play, and it ended up really costing Tanuki. They just never really recovered with their ult economy after that.
No, they didn't. But that was in the past, and we do know, at least if we look back on the past, Tanuki had a much easier time on their own push, on their own attack phase, even getting an extra minute. Let's not forget this. They have an extra minute on the clock here, so a lot of time to really work with on their hopefully to gain the 6 points, right? You want to. You want this to go to a very, very long game of King's Row, which I wouldn't have it any other way. Arsene still sticking onto his Malga. Temp and Lich finding value on this Reaper. Y swap off of it. Y swap off the Widow. I'm sorry, the Echo, excuse me. And Rotation is sticking with the Sigma so far. Has been getting a lot of value, so why not? The high ground control we're seeing from the Rotation, they're not going to be allowing Tanuki to really formulate around this high ground, and so much so that Arsene is forced to back off almost immediately and reconvene with the rest of the team here underneath the high ground.
That was actually really close for Arsene. I thought they were going to go down there. They do manage to stay alive. Arsene going to be looking for that pin. Temp trying to go in with them. I like this play right here. Great play from Arsene.
Oh, even better when you get Chosen and Play-Doh to excuse me? Oh, did not know that tree was walkable on. I'm sorry. I learn new things every day when I see a Malga with these all new rollouts. But Magmerk last one to go down for the count, and that is going to be within a minute. Less than a minute even. They're going to be able to find all 3 ticks and get a beautiful start to their attack phase. to hopefully get us to a 6-pointer.
And this is what you want to see if you're Tanuki. Just continue this dominance. Don't lose Arson right here, though. You got to be careful. They are continuing to just kind of press this really hard. I like the aggression that they're showing right now. They got to be careful, though. Matt Merck getting close to this gravitic flux already. And that is a dangerous ult if you get a lot of people caught in there.
And also with Plato coming up on the artillery cannon as well, that's going to be even worse. And okay, setting up on this corner here, I mean, that's even better because these archways are another nightmare for King's Row attackers to get through against the defenders. But here comes this teleportation. The orbital ray goes right through, however, and pushes forward into the streets of King's Row. The 85 healing over time is so good for Arson, who was so low there. Feeds right out of that flood, does find Temp, but Temp again can just wraith right out of it, but the anti-nade kind of making sure that Arson, being so far away from the back line, can't get any sort of peel back from the supports here. Here again, here's the torpedo demon. Here comes the turret form from Plato, putting in all the pressure, but not for long. The Nano has to be defended again onto Matt Merck, and even after using 3 ults here, it's not going to be enough. They're being forced to back away. Temp coming to the back line, trying to find a little bit of that ult charge for that Death Blossom, but Lich does get that duplicate off. I think was able to find the Bastion ultimate as well, but at the end of the day, Harmony's walls are once again game-saving.
I mean, yeah, Harmony putting that wall up just stops all the aggression there. I thought it was going to cost Nightmare rotation, that orbital ray. They do a good job of not using that, though. So now you have the orbital ray as a potential response to the Cage and Death Blossom. I think the Cage and Death Blossom would still potentially overpower it, but you at least have an engagement tool here if you're Bandit. Plato getting that stick again with the grenade, taking down Lich on that Echo. I mean, what more can we say about Plato on this Bastion?
Cannot go down here, but here's the orbital ray from Bandit, and we're going in against against Plato. But I mean, there's artillery cannons and Cage. We're gonna get the Death Blossom. We absolutely are. It's massive. It's absolutely huge, and the orbital ray from Solo Zen even better to help temp out. Has to wraith away, however, there at least is one more person, that being Lich, on that objective. Arson going over to the Doomfist. Can Lich defend in time for attempt to get his Mega Pack? They absolutely can. Potion still on this high ground, but being chased down by Social on this Lucio. Diverts Matt Merck's attention for a split second, and making sure that, again, Lich is able to find themselves back on this payload. Make sure we don't see 9 away from it. There's no ultimates ready. This closest being the Nano from Chosen, which again could be really good, but even better is a pick on Solo Zen, which could put a stop to Tanuki's run here. Arson gets a charge in on Plato. That's massive. Social so low, trying to find a little bit of value, trying to get this beat off, but we're 4% away from the ultimate. And Shadow Fang, I think Nightmare Rotation has clutched it out once again on King's Row.
I mean, just great map from Nightmare Rotation. They got a little scare in them in Tanuki's attack round with how strong they pushed it there. But then as soon as Nightmare Rotation was able to get through point 2 and then let alone point 3, that's usually enough to win this map outright, and they did do just that. They stalled out Tanuki just long enough with various ult usage that they just kind of ran out of time trying to go through second point here. And, you know, great job by Nightmare Rotation. Their ult usage was pristine on this map. Plato and Harmony doing their thing again on their heroes. You know, you love to see it. Like I said, those Symmetra TPs were huge 99% of the time. I don't think I saw one that I thought like, oh, that's no good. No, they were all incredible. You were seeing the Bastion just teleported to the high ground, just shooting with that turret, taking down multiple people in multiple fights from the TPs. Like, yeah, just really smart play from Nightmare Rotation. It's how you have to be if you're going to play comps like this.
They were very smart, extremely, you know, diligent all the way to the end. And I know some teams can get a little bit hyped up, and maybe have 20 seconds left on the clock. We have a Death Blossom, we maybe have a Cage in like 2 seconds, and as long as they all stay alive, boom, bam, bob. We see swaps to the Tracer, to Lucio. Nerves are in the air. Tanuki almost taking it to that objective B and getting the reset needed, but the Death Blossom just didn't get the last pick that they needed. They got 2, but 3 would have been absolutely perfect, but that's a-okay. Tanuki down here by 2 points, right? Nightmare Rotation on their match point as we think about a map 3 selection. We've tried control, we're forced into control. We tried hybrid. Do we see a push come up next? Do we see a clash point come up next? We'll find out after a very quick break.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
After a very quick break that was much needed after a 5-6 game of King's Row, we've made it to map 3 almost unscathed on our end at least. I know for players, they have been duking it out, fighting for their lives out there in the battlefield of Overwatch. We are going over to Runa Sapi to hopefully see Nightmare Rotation get 3-0 or see Tanuki on a come up of a reverse sweep.
I mean, yeah, Runasapi, really good map. It's probably my favorite push map, if I'm honest with you. But I feel like this is going to be a map that will sort of lend itself more to the Malga composition, but you still have. That's the tough part with this particular map pool is every map has really long sight lines that the Bastion and the Symmetra are going to be able to make some really good use of, especially if Nightmare Rotation is going to continue to play this Sigma as well. It's honestly like the perfect combination of heroes if you're just gonna stick on this Bastion and Symmetra and play into a Malga constantly. Like you're in a spot where you want to constantly be a long way away from the Malga, and Nightmare Rotation is doing a really good job of that so far.
They absolutely are, and you know, with Runasapi, I have to agree with you. I do quite like Runasapi. It's grown on me a lot. I think it's because I do like the layout of it because it's very similar to New Queen Street, if not the exact same as New Queen Street, and I like New Queen Street a lot. So it kind of works out for people who love Runasapi and who love New Queen Street. But for a while, I will say I do still call it Runasloppy because I genuinely hated it on release until I learned how to play it, and I'm like, wait, this is actually like a big brain map. It's great. So very excited to see what we're gonna be rolling out on. I do think Tanuki might be staying on that Malga composition, since even though the scoreboard says 2-0, these have all been so close. They have been round threes. There have been overtime rounds. Like on King's Row, we saw on Control Point. Like if we could somehow draw on a push, we probably would see that from these guys. You know, they'll find a way to make it happen. Both checkpoints, nothing else. So I fully expect this to go extremely back and forth, and honestly down to the wire on Runasapi.
And I mean, you know, I think there was some sort of statistic about push where it's like if you win first fight, you win push like some absurd percentage of the time, like 70 or 80% of the time. It was some absurd number I saw somewhere. I probably just made it up. I don't know. You can find it on like a shirt somewhere. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. But I think first fight is going to be incredibly important on this map, you know, regardless of what I was just saying, because you just want to establish that first dominance and get the checkpoint as fast as you can, because these teams are so even. I think they're going to just trade fights back and forth over and over again. So if you can get that first fight win and really get your push going, I think that's gonna be a major advantage.
Absolutely, and I feel like Runasapi more often than not allows for that equality of the team fights going either way. You know, I feel like on a Esperanza, it's really based on, you know, your rotations, your high ground control, your dive control, especially because that map is so favored to a dive composition or even a brawl composition. But Runasapi, for most part, hasn't played relatively more with like a rush kind of comp or a brawl kind of comp. The Malga, the Jungle Queen, I've seen played here extremely effectively. Back when we were in the jail of Diva Ram Juno, release Juno at least. You know, that was also a very strong composition done on Runasapi, and that's still a very rush-based comp. It's all about speed, all about being in your face, all about pushing you down that hill, and arguably, you know, whoever is on that first objective on where the bot opens up, and you're on the hill, if you're going down against the hill, you're automatically in disadvantage. You gotta look up, you gotta fight against, you gotta be, you know, making sure you're rotating correctly, and the other team can just push onto you easily with slightly better sight lines given to them from that incline. So, you know, Runasapi, I feel like, again, gonna go either way. We could be seeing Tanuki take it and start, you know, bringing it back score-wise, or we're going to be seeing Nightmare Rotation run with a 3-0, but albeit a very close 3-0.
And something else worth noting, I don't know if it's going to show itself here or not, but with this being a relatively new map still, is Harmony going to have these nonsense teleporter locations that they've had on the other maps, right? Do you have the level of map knowledge yet to just know these random locations to put your Sin TPs that are going to be advantageous for your team because you know where Tanuki wants to take fights at? Is that a thing that's fully established yet? I'm not too sure, but, you know, that could potentially be another reason that Tanuki is picking this map, you know, just thinking that, like, hey, maybe it'll be more straightforward where we're going to see this Symmetra and Bastion coming from, not just surprising us with a, you know, high ground teleport on King's Row.
Sorry, I had a little giggle at the pause and immediately like unpause. Gum good, hilarious. Coming starting off strong, the Sigma versus the Malga, same song and dance. But as you mentioned, these TP strategies are going to be so useful, especially as we see Plato. You know, you see Plato coming in turret form, you're teleporting, and you just melt down a Juno so quickly. And we're trying to peel for our honor, and Chosen, literally by a sliver of health, escapes by the skin of their teeth, but not for long before attempt shuts them down, but there's both DPS kind of gone from the team fight here. But that's A-okay. Manga himself, pretty much a DPS in his own right, and Max, sorry, Sigma like falling off the map like that was really funny to watch.
No, it absolutely was. But I mean, even in that time, Nightmare Rotation gets about 26 meters of push. So, you know, if you're gonna lose a fight, you may as well get 26 meters while you're at it. That's not too shabby, you know. And we're gonna see the teams re-engage. No ultimates really to speak of, and I think the side of Nightmare Rotation is gonna be able to fight this again before Tanuki even takes this lead here.
Like you said, if you can get a free 25-26% on the board, go for it, right? Very well done from Harmony for being able to find that value for this side of Nightmare Rotation. But Arson is going straight in, and just like that, Harmony's down for the count. A Cardiac Overdrive almost helping Arson out by living a little bit longer, but Lich even better at finding that mini pack and shutting down Plato at the same time. So a lot of back and forth in this kill feed, just towards the left of the side of Tanuki, and oh, I'm sorry, and Temp, excuse me. Temp now putting all the pressure on Matmerk, and this has now seeded the 26 meters and now almost double that at 43 and counting. Rally extended here from Social for that overhealth, for that extra healing potential, but now Nightmare Rotation has finally gotten the bot back in their favor and trying to make a push back against Tanuki.
Finally getting that positive momentum going for Nightmare Rotation. Tanuki coming up on their Cage, Death Blossom, Blade. Here comes the Orbital Ray, though, and there should be a strong engage here.
Oh, a strong engage, but a little bit of a weaker DPS line. Lich not there means that it's all up to Temp, maybe to, you know, use this Death Blossom or just kind of duke it out with the sheer power of Reaper right now. And it looks like they're going to be sticking with just playing around the tank and, you know, at the same moment, two supports. But, you know, Arson and Temp are kind of menaces in of themselves just on the Reaper and the Malga.
I mean, yeah, that neutral damage, that is kind of the reason you play the two heroes together, and that is a big time checkpoint for Tanuki. Very crucial that they get that right now, because with them having such a big ult advantage here, as long as Harmony does not get a crazy good barrier again, I think that Tanuki should win this fight outright.
They absolutely should. I mean, they have 3 ultimates here. It's the same wall coming from Harmony. And it looks like Tanuki can be kind of backing up this original corner here, waiting for the wall to go down for this, maybe this Death Blossom or the Dragon Blade to be set up and ready to use. Lich, I mean, is setting up for the Dragon Blade, and there it is. Wall goes down, Harmony goes down with it. And I mean, it's a wonderfully well-timed team fight and well-paced team fight in favor of Tanuki. Good patience, good staging, good everything.
And yeah, it cost you the Cage and the Blade, but you maintained the Rally and the Death Blossom. So that's a pretty good trade, I'll say. But Plato and Matmerk coming up on this classic combo, the Flux and the Artillery Strike. And Chosen having this Nano, they may choose to Nano Harmony again. I've noticed they've been doing that quite a bit, and a Sim with a Nano and full beam charge is very scary.
And coupled with the Rally, here comes the Death Blossom. Doesn't really find too much, but gets everyone super low. But here's the Nano again on Plato. And that Nano Bastion is not what we want to see on your Overwatch screen today. If we can get a pick on Lick, that'd be great. And Lick does find his one before inevitably losing the team fight. And Nightmare Rotation finally has a bot back in their advantage. And the stagger on the supports here are going to be really detrimental for Tanuki, but only temporarily.
And I mean, here you go. We're looking at 112.91 to 26.54 meters respectively for either team. This is a good opportunity for you, though. If you're Nightmare Rotation, you can potentially win this first fight that's coming up with an ultimate or two, and then save your Orbital Ray for the next fight, and that could be beneficial for you.
Oh, good punish from the teleport, forces everyone to back away from the teleportation. That being Plato and I believe Harmony as well. But here's the oh my god, the Juno ultimate, excuse me, the Orbital Ray, and the Flux to negate it. Oh, there's a lot of red on my screen, and Arsenal saw the same exact thing. Completely shut down, a beautiful accretion to shut down the gliding Juno there, and Tanuki having to regroup. They did use just the Orbital Ray, and so did Bandit, so at least you trade off orbitals. That's great for both sides here.
Oh, and that contest from Temp allows Solo Zen to get the forward spawns. So it's actually a really smart play there from the Reaper, and in comes the charge.
Can Chosen get out? Barely, but not before getting sliced to bits by the Dragon Blade. Temp helping Lich get the final kill there on Play-Doh, and Matmer trying to get away as much as they possibly can with Harmony there, and just like that, I mean, Tanuki has 112 to 26. This is insane. We're just 4 minutes left in the time bank.
Yeah, you can't let your foot off the gas just yet, though, if you're Tanuki, because of that 4-minute time bank that you were mentioning. We've seen crazier things happen. I always bring up Toronto and Twisted Minds, 128, I think it was, to 0, gets flipped on its head. So you cannot let off the gas here if you're Tanuki. You gotta keep blasting these ultimates as soon as you can, and in comes the charge.
Here comes a charge after knowing the Anthony was completely whiffed on Arson. The cage has been expended. Here's the rally as well again for the extra sustained power of this full front brawl that Tanuki is going in with. Cage does get the lead, however, by the power of Pluto and Pluto, excuse me. We're not Mickey Mouse today. Play-Doh, I mean, popping off with the Bastion once again. Grenade on the tank. We get the pick on Solo Zen. Yeah, we get dived in by Social and Lich here, but will it be enough? Temp is still able to kind of distract Matt around the objective, the bot here, and still get the mini pack in the nick of time. Lich does go down, no longer there. Good contest. And Arson is right back at it just to make some extra, a little bit of a headache happen for Nightmare rotation.
And if you're Nightmare rotation, you need to win this fight, preferably without any ultimates, because you need them for the next fight that's incoming. That's actually a really good flux, though. I like that play.
Yeah, he knows that he realized, hey, Arson is typically charging out my fluxes. Why don't I just wait for the charge to happen and go for the flux early? Very well done, very well timed. Good punish on Arson's habits.
And it only costs you that flux, so you still have your orbital, you've still got the artillery strike. If you're Nightmare rotation, you just have to make sure you deal with Temp's Death Blossom right now. You're gonna have to worry about the blade at some point, but first you gotta get this Death Blossom out of the way. You want to get the checkpoint in this fight.
Oh, and they deal with the Death Blossom by just slicing Temp away from the team fight here. Here's the artillery strike you're talking about earlier. It gets expended here, but it really doesn't find too much, but it gets Arson really low enough for Play to actually finish off the kill. And working with his orbital ray is beautiful. Now, finally, with sub 2 minutes to spare, we have made it to the first checkpoint of push of Runasapi.
And here it is. This is the moment right here if you're Tanuki. You can win this map potentially right here with this next fight. You've got to use these ults properly, though. You've got the Blossom, you've got the Blade, and you have the Rally. The only thing Nightmare Rotation has for you right now is this Symmetra barrier. You've got to go fast.
And going fast, they absolutely do with the Rally as well. But Sim was there, kind of, Nightmare Rotation kind of walking away from it a little bit as Tanuki completely retreats backwards. Harmony thankfully having the teleport to kind of escape within the skin of their teeth, but Arson cannot do the same. No tank on the side of Tanuki, and no Brigitte either. Are we gonna go for the Death Blossom here? I really hope we don't. No, we don't. Temp saves it for another fight. Not really willingly, as Anthony does shut them down.
And here it is. I thought it was 2 fights ago. It's actually this fight. This is the fight you absolutely have to win now. You got your 2 DPS ultimates. You're getting close to the orbital ray. Chosen does have the nano boost, though. They could potentially get a sick nano here.
Oh, but even sicker, Dragon Blade shuts down Bandit. Can we find the pick onto the Lich? Oh, absolutely impeccable sleep from Chosen. The fun has to be expended now or never. Here comes Artillery Strike, and Temp doesn't really have anything to get out of it, but has to raise it right in the nick of time, and the orbital ray from Solo Zen. That's absolutely amazing. Here's the Flux. It does find Social, giving Play-Doh an easy way to punish the side of Tanuki, and oh my gosh, getting a 3-piece on the bash, and they're able to push the button. Arson can't touch in time before it finally goes in the way of Nightmare rotation. Even on the Doomfist, we have wasted 45 seconds with only 3 seconds left. Can Tracer touch in time with 1 second to spare? They absolutely do. Overtime has been activated, but Temp forced to recall super early. Accretion not gonna find the recall, in fact, and we're still pushing 123 to 112. No ultimates ready. Social trying to get this rally off as fast as possible.
You want Bandit. Bandit is about to get to this orbital ray. The orbital ray and the barrier coming in for Nightmare rotation. That's going to be the moment here. I think Nightmare rotation is going to get aggressive.
They have no choice but to get aggressive. The bot has now pushed all the way back to that first objective here. Here's the orbital ray from Bandit, and like you said, it was gonna be absolutely massive. And with Play-Doh playing behind the Sim wall, completely protected, and sustained by that over the raid from Bandit. It is a one team fight, a one series for Nightmare Rotation. They have solidified their place into winners finals.
Yeah, I can't believe they flipped it. You know, I said it early on. I was like, do not think that just because it is 128 to 26 that Nightmare Rotation cannot turn this around with 4 minutes to go. And there you go, just winning fight after fight after fight, cycling those ults perfectly. And you can see right there the Bastion just putting in the work from Play-Doh. And I mean, my goodness, Nightmare Rotation is just a treat to watch every single time because they're just so different from everybody else.
Absolutely, but you know what was also a treat? Seeing Tanuki still go so even. We said it was gonna go completely even. Some fights were very much Tanuki favored, and then somehow, some way, at the 2-minute mark, Nightmare Rotation was like, why are we trolling? We're gonna win this right here, right now. Use our ultimates correctly, cycle them correctly, find the corners, find the picks there, and kind of force Tanuki to panic a little bit. They panicked a tiny bit. The Dragon Blade was there, the Death Blossom was there, but both of them, I think the Dragon Blade too early and the Death Blossom too late, you know, at the like the 20-second mark. So Nightmare Rotation taking it 3-0, but an incredibly close series. It could have been really just felt like a game fiver. It really just felt like it. The vibes were there, the energy, the desperation, the overtime, the extra rounds. We've had a lot of Overwatch today of these two teams. Shout out.
No, absolutely. And I mean, if you're Tanuki, you still have an opportunity here because, you know, with this being the winner side of the bracket, you're not out. So you still have a chance to come back. If you played Nightmare Rotation this close, I know it says 3-0, but that was a really close series regardless of that fact. You have a good chance of beating most any team that you run into in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tanuki dropping down to the lower side of things, Nightmare Rotation sticking to the winners finals. But we do have an interview lined up for you guys from Nightmare Rotation, so don't go anywhere as we set it up. We'll be right back with Anima from Nightmare as their coach. And welcome back, everybody, after an incredibly close map 3-0 situation in favor of Nightmare Rotation. We do have an interview lineup for you guys with Anima, one of the coaches of Nightmare Rotation. Anima, so good to see you today. How are we feeling? How is the team feeling? And how are you feeling about their win today?
Hey, glad to be here. Honestly, my team is pretty hyped up. Obviously, they did really well, at least I would say so. And, you know, we've been practicing a lot versus the current meta, so we're glad to see a lot of those efforts bearing fruit and giving us a pretty strong matchup into what's usually seen as, you know, something pretty ironclad right now.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, we've been seeing a ton of that Malga composition played, and y'all are not opting to play that, which it's always enjoyable to watch for sure. So my first question is going to be, what is the thing that you think was causing you all to flip these maps on their heads so often? Because it looked like Tanuki was really taking a strong lead against you to start off with on most all of these maps, and then y'all would just immediately flip it like somewhere midway through the map and just start absolutely dominating.
That is a great question. So we tend to try and approach things with a pretty puzzle solving mentality. So I mean, like if we look at, you know, like Face It League and stuff like that, we tend to reverse sweep a lot of teams or have like a lot of close matches that we come out close on top from, just because we don't usually, you know, just, you know, throw our hands up in the air and give up when things get tough. We usually try to, you know, crack at, you know, how we can shift things around, and the players are super good at this. It's something that I, you know, do between maps, things like that. So they tend to be able to keep a strong mental. I don't know why it happens on push, dude. I swear every single push, every time it's like we get pushed to like, you know, 80 to 100 meters, and then suddenly we hit it back. So dude, maybe it's like some, you know, curse, but hey, as long as we win in that.
No, yeah, for sure. As long as it works, don't fix it. We're good. Right. It works. I do want to ask, in the face of a team that is running this Malga very, very well, the composition from Tanuki, how have you guys, I know you guys really don't want to run it, so how have you guys been able to find the fact that a Sim, a Bastion, a Sigma works into it and so effectively at that on different map types?
Yeah, so originally we had started with playing Sim, Juno, Iari, Bastion, because that was kind of just our default thing that we kind of liked to mix together and bring against teams. We had to make some tweaks to the heroes that we brought out for against the Malga matchup, because Malga honestly just abuses some heroes, especially with like the Reaper TPs and stuff. So we did have to do something that was like a little bit more sturdy in terms of being able to be resilient against it and also able to hit back. So it's kind of like a formula tested in fire, because honestly, we almost got bodied by a really, really good Malga team and Face It, and we really had to step up our game fast. So it was kind of like a cram study session, if you get what I mean.
No, absolutely. Just trial and error. Just see what ends up working for you. And I guess my last question here is going to be: you're moving on to the winners finals here. You're going to be playing against the BSC Bobcats. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, we know they're good. Beyond that, honestly, we'll have to see. I don't know for sure if they'll be, you know, sticking with meta or not. I would assume so, because most teams are, you know, pretty locked in on that. But regardless, we're just gonna have to kind of see as it comes, because I don't expect it'll be an easy match by, you know, any means. So we're just gonna kind of have to grit our teeth and, you know, see who comes out on top.
But at least has more experience with this Malga and see how far you can kind of push that Sigma Bastion sim comp, right? So at least that's the positive part if they go the Malga. For your final questions, so you guys can, you know, have the celebration for the night. Since you're live on stream, who do you want to give a shout out to? And it can be absolutely anybody. You can throw your team to the wolves and give it to whoever you want.
I mean, biggest shout out, of course, obviously has to go down to the players and, you know, team management, of course, to keep things running smoothly. And I know how much, you know, effort and care they give things. And obviously big appreciation to all the fans out there who I know, you know, support us all with their hurrahs in streams and whatnot, and my personal enthusiasts as well who have supported me on my coaching journey. I appreciate that too. So yeah, big shout out to those people.
That's wonderful. And it was so good to talk to you today. I'm hoping for the best for Number Rotation as they go into winners finals and hopefully into grand finals. So go ahead, take the night off, get the celebration, and go into those VOD reviews for your next match. Have a wonderful night, Anima.
Thank you.
And there you go, everyone. Just like that. 3-0 victory for Nightmare Rotation. A wonderful interview by their coach. And unfortunately, we've come to the end of the broadcast. But don't worry. As always, there's more coming up tomorrow. There's more on Friday. There's Saturday. And there's Sunday broadcasts coming up live to you this week. Right, Shadow?
Yeah, we're going to have broadcasts every single day. Like you can see right there, that's the tentative schedule, if you will. Going to be going until about December 15th with just various matches. We're coming up on the winners finals, so I think we're going to be seeing a lot more close series as we're getting down to the wire here. And the same thing going to be happening in those lower brackets as well. We're going to be seeing those lower semis, the lower finals, and eventually we're going to get to those grand finals. And those are the ones you are for sure not going to want to miss because, we're going to have, I believe we are going to stream every single grand finals for every tier. At least most of the time, we do tend to get all of them streamed.
And the best part, grand finals is first to 4, baby. So we're seated for at least 2 hours. I'm excited for grand finals to come up very soon here for all the divisions, not even just NA Open, NA console, EU console, everything is happening. So please don't go anywhere. We're having everything ready for you guys for the rest of the week. Shout outs to my producer, shout outs to my observers. As always, you guys are amazing. Shout outs to everyone in the Twitch chat, just kind of sticking it out with us and having a wonderful time watching this extremely close 3-0 series. But once again, to cap it off, Nightmare Rotation 3-0 victory. Hopefully you do well in the finals into BG and BSC Bobcat, excuse me. And that is all we have for you guys today. Have a wonderful night, everybody.